Shannon, Bream, a rare treat in our studio. I thought for sure, even though you were in the building, you'd call from another office because you didn't want to be in the studio with me. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Well, when the judge waived the restraining order for this, 48-hour period, I thought, well, I make good use of that. I'll go see Brian in person. It's a pause. It's a judicial pause.
That's your judicial
on the
pause.
Proceedings.
That'll be fine. So we'll see. But you can't, this judge cannot deport me.
Well, that you know of.
That we know of. We got to, everybody.
Stranger things have happened.
I know. We'll find out.
Where would you want to go if you did get deported? Like, I have some places, if I get kicked out of the country, I would never want to leave America, but if they kick me out.
I'd probably Aruba.
Oh, that's not a bad place.
And I'd serve my time there. And I'd go from resort to resort until I learned my lesson.
You would be on resort arrest.
Absolutely.
House arrest.
Yes. Go to the salad bar.
Yeah,
That's
I like that.
Mm-hmm. So, Shannon, I was tempted to do the big three, but I don't want to.
Okay, well, it's your show.
Right.
You get to do what you want.
Should we get what's on your show this weekend?
We are going to have a debate from the House Intel Committee where, D&I Gabbard has released this stuff about Russiagate, Russia hoax. We've got the chair, Rick Crawford, and we've got Democrat Jason Crow. And they don't see the documents the same way.
They don't.
They don't, so we're going to debate it.
I think we need a heavy debate. This is what I would say. And I was telling people this because I'm like you. I do hits with other affiliates across the country. And this morning they say, what do I think about this? I say this. And I hope people understand my sincerity. If I find out that Donald Trump in the fourth year of his administration, and his party loses to a Democrat, let's say it's Worthmore. Worthmore is the president-elect. If I found out that Donald Trump met with his inner circle and worked out a way to try to delegitimize Worthmore's win and then destroy his next 2 years with an investigation that was based on nothing, I would be just as outraged as I feel with the revelations that have been coming forward gradually from Andy McCarthy's book 4 years ago to what we found out again today. Because that's really fundamentally, as people get caught up in who said what, that's really what would happen.
Yeah, and that's what Gabbard says. You should care whether you're a Democrat or Republican because you don't want this to happen to anybody who's duly elected legitimately by the people of this country. You should not want them to be undermined. And the media being complicit and being a partner in this leaks of this, not fully legit information. I mean, you shouldn't want that for anybody.
Right. And just the key is this, and I don't think this is fully appreciated. They've done the impossible. Yes, since 2014, we've been looking into what Russia's trying to do with our elections. And through basically social media, they tried buying Facebook ads and doing things. Okay, fine. Nobody thinks electronically, digitally, they would be able to infiltrate.
That's one thing they agree on.
Right. But they didn't make it clear. They said Vladimir Putin, nothing happens in Russia without him knowing about it. We think he was directly involved. And then they wanted to establish collusion for this entire situation. So they go ahead and they make up a situation where Donald Trump is working with Vladimir Putin in order to win an election. Then they meet in Helsinki after long delays and all problems because how could Donald Trump appear with a summit with Vladimir Putin when he's being accused of collaborating with him? That would just reinforce the thought process. So when they meet in Helsinki, Putin looks at him and says, I may be a KGB agent. I probably lie to you all the time, but I actually did not work with you. And I didn't work with you to win an election. The Facebook ads is all I got. And he goes out there and he does a press conference. And you might have been there in Helsinki. Were you traveling?
Was not. I was there in spirit.
So he does a press conference and goes, yeah, my intel community says he tried to manipulate the election. I believe him. He didn't. He didn't try to manipulate, and I certainly didn't collaborate with him. Vladimir Putin was actually right. He's like, look, I might be a bad guy, but I didn't kill everybody. I might be a killer, but I didn't kill those people.
Certain killing.
Yes. So Vladimir Putin was actually telling the truth. You took the villain of our generation and you caught him telling the truth. You overcharged him with innuendo that we didn't find out until I guess 2 weeks ago.
Well, and the thing is, you go back, we've all been doing it, playing the clips where you have people saying Russia hacked the election. That's a very specific thing that makes people think, because when you talk to people now, you probably talk to people all the time like, oh yeah, they broke into machines and changed votes. Everybody agrees that is not what they did. That's not what they're talking about. D's and R's agree that is not what happened. But when you leave that impression out there for people, there are people who believe that's exactly what Putin did.
Right. And the thing is, if you watch only the other channels and only read the New York Times and Washington Post, then, the investigation happens, the Mueller report is done, and he's not impeached. Okay. So much happened. I'm not even thinking, you collaborated. They couldn't prove that he collaborated with Putin, but we all know he did. But if you don't go out of your way to read a book or watch our channel, you have no idea what we're talking about. For example, did you know the whole thing with the laptop? How many times do people outside the Fox go, well, that was Russian disinformation?
Well, this is the same vibe to me, the exact same vibe,
same thing.
where people are saying we shouldn't even be reporting on this. You're doing Russia's bidding. You're doing the work for them by reporting on this. No, as journalists, you should want to ask questions. You should say, hey, is there something to this? I should care because, as you said, with a Democrat president, this could happen too. We don't want that to happen.
So, Shannon, there's three things going on right now. The Tulsi Gabbard, it's got merit, all right? The Epstein investigation's got merit. And we have a situation with Joe Biden. Was he actually making any decision? Has merit. But those three things are not affecting Americans' lives. They're of interest. But if you take the top 10 issues that affect America's lives, Donald Trump's making big decisions, and some are great, and some you disagree with. Like the MAGA world probably agrees with 99.9% of it. Some Republicans agree with maybe 80% of it. Democrats, 15% of it, but it's all happening. Impactful decisions, the big, beautiful bill, even the college sports EO that came down the pike. There's no more DEI in this country. If there is, you're going to be condemned. The argument on sanctuary cities, immigration in our midst, the sealing of the border. Those are the issues that matter that people are going to vote on and feel, let alone the economic trade deals. How much does meat cost? How much does eggs cost? How much is that new car going to cost? How much to get a mortgage? Those are all the things that rank ahead of the three biggest stories.
Yeah.
So how do you not cover the reality shows and cover what's important and keep people's interest?
Yeah, I think you got to do all of it. I mean, you have to acknowledge that there are other stories going out there. Our polling shows us what people are worried about. And they do a daily poll, a daily check-in every time they buy groceries and they put gas in the car and whatever they do. That's their real life. A lot of people you bring this stuff up with, they have no idea who you're talking about. They don't know who Brennan or Clapper is. Like those names, that's not part of their daily routine of trying to keep a roof over their head and their kids in school and whatever else they got to do. So I do think those are things that will show up much more in voting, in decisions. I mean, there are off-year elections. We're watching New Jersey and Virginia. I mean, there are places where you're going to get to hear from people about other things they actually care about.
I want you to hear, the one thing I was surprised at is that Ron Klain spoke. Out of everyone behind closed doors, I guess Neera Tanden and one other spoke, but had very little to say. And then you had a bunch of people take the fifth in the Joe Biden investigation. But almost everyone agrees that Ron Klain came to play. And I'm just wondering why you think he did. Is he trying to save his career? Is he trying to cleanse his soul? What is he doing?
I think a couple different things. Some of these people are coming in under voluntary interviews, which I believe that's what he was yesterday. That's different than a sworn deposition where if you're going to potentially be in trouble, you're going to take the fifth. I mean, a sworn deposition, you're going to want more protection for yourself.
You as a lawyer, when someone takes the fifth, if I say, well, that obviously you're hiding something, you go, no, that's a constitutional option.
Yeah, it is.
But
and
can you contrast taking the fifth to what Ron Klain did?
Yeah.
And they have the same stakes?
Yeah, I mean, there are different potential penalties for the way that he was testifying, but I do think that he is a guy who understands, listen, he said, of course, the president was slowing down. That's not a big mystery. It would come with his age, that kind of thing. What I thought was interesting is that apparently he talked about the fact that Jake Sullivan and Hillary Clinton came to him during the end of Biden's time and said he's not politically viable. So there are a lot of people that are going to be thrown into this mix. More people for Hunter Biden to be mad at.
Here's what Republican Congressman Andy Biggs said, cut 16.
I think Mr. Klain has come in there and he's, in my opinion, he's not trying to avoid answering the questions. He's answering the questions carefully. He's saying the things that I kind of expected him to say, which is reflective of the book, the Whipple book, and some of the articles written about that. But he's been answering the questions, I think, forthrightly and in the way he sees the world.
See, to me, it is so interesting that he thought it would be the right thing to do to say Hillary Clinton also knew it and Jake Sullivan. We know that Jake Sullivan, who was doing all this international work, had to call back to the White House and know he was getting a dial tone. So, and he denied it. This is the second time we heard that Jake Sullivan had a problem with Joe Biden's cognitive ability, but they both deny it. So at this point, they do an autopsy for Democrats and they say, we're not going to talk about Harris and we're not going to talk
Right.
about Biden. And behind the scenes, you only got really one or two people that are willing to talk about it. Where do you think this will go? I mean, do you think there's pressure on those who are left, at least 5, to say something?
Well, and our polling does show out this week that people do think that the investigation into use of the auto pen is legit. They want answers about that. And again, that's another thing you shouldn't care about based on party. Any president that you think is not in control of making decisions, you should not want, if you're a D or an R, to know that there's a group of people, the Politburo, whatever they're calling them, who were running the show and making decisions. Like, no American should want that. It completely devalues your vote and your ability to trust in the presidency. So our polling shows that people do want answers on that question. I don't know how far you get with this. Klain does seem to have been the most forthcoming, but think of the big heavy hitters we have still coming. Anita Dunn. We've got Jeff Zients. We've got Karine Jean-Pierre, who said as a marathon runner, she couldn't keep up with President Biden. So we've got some more. I've got a lot of questions.
I didn't know the first part. Was she's a marathon runner?
Yeah, she's a distance runner. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But do you know why she said absolutely nothing in those press conferences?
What do you mean?
When she would go out, I know press secretaries have to spin. But
You didn't like her book?
But if you watch Kayleigh McEnany, if you watched
From the cuff, off the cuff.
Caroline Leavitt, Ari Fleischer, any Democrat that I could think of, they have something to say and stuff they don't want to say. But she absolutely said nothing, always.
Well,
and that was because, to me, there was nothing going on. He
Right.
wasn't making decisions.
Right. Think about it like Caroline said yesterday or the day before, like she says all the time. I'm with the president every single day. I know what he thinks. I know what we're working on. I know what's happening around the clock. I feel like his inner circle, meaning President Biden's, really did not have much access to him at all. And like you said, I don't know that a lot was getting done. And so she would come out, and I think her role was to be protective. That's what she was doing.
A few more minutes with Shannon Bream. Oh, excuse me. Oh, wait, yeah, with a few more minutes with Shannon Bream.
You sound like maybe you don't think that's a good idea.
No,
You're weighing your options.
No, I was looking at, instead of looking at your name, I was looking at Tomi Lahren.
And you're fast forwarding past me. You're like, let's get to Tomi.
If you don't mind. You know, I get our fantastic anchors confused sometimes.
It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
Our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
For him, between the problems they had with the flooding, I guess the water line, between problems they had with, I guess, some of the schemes and whether it was marble or windows, the building of the new Fed building is way over cost. It's over $2 billion. And President Trump is, in my view, using that as an opportunity to highlight how irresponsible the Fed's been run. So he grabbed a hard hat, didn't have one for Tim Scott. Not sure why. Him and Jay Powell walked the building. Tomi Lahren is here, host of Outkick's. Tomi Lahren is fearless Fox News contributor, about to go on Outnumbered. But Tomi, the reason why I wanted to play that is just so people fully understand. There's not a boring moment in the Trump administration. Every moment is on camera. And to see Jay Powell shaking his head, that's not true. And then to see Trump goes, it is true. I got a paper here. And Tim Scott in the middle of it. It makes everything interesting and exciting.
Better than really any late night show. Also,
yes.
just to tie in the news of the week. I mean, you just watch Trump, you listen to him talk, and you're going to get better entertainment.
Right.
And he doesn't have to have a team of writers do it for him. He can just do it and create great moments. And it's authentic. And, you know, sometimes people don't like it. People don't like to see officials going back and forth and they kind of grasp their pearls when they see it. But I think it's great. I think it's happening. It's more transparent. As in dealing with Biden administration, they can't even decide if he was awake or not. They're fighting back and forth. At least with Trump, it's like love it or hate it, but it's in front of your face.
He feels like we're losing billions of dollars paying interest. He looks at our budget as if it's his bank account.
Right.
And he says, all this money's going to interest. Why is this interest so high? Why is the rest of the world so high? And let the economists out there debate what Tomi and I are talking about. But all I can tell you is he puts together a really solid argument. And then he goes and takes it to the guy who's got to make a decision in a few weeks to lower or keep the rates as they are. That's pressure, man, right?
It's pressure. And we haven't seen this kind of spotlight either. We've never seen this in my lifetime, certainly. The direct pressure, and love it or hate it, but he's making a statement and he's making his feelings known. And I think he also probably takes it a little personally. Like, hey, you're kind of willing to help out some of the other guys, but you're not willing to help me out. Look at all I'm doing for the economy. Like, help me out, buddy.
Yeah.
And he's not feeling that. So he takes it personally.
Yeah. By the way, here's the president. Just when asked directly, he got help by a reporter with this. Cut 2.
As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
That's the project manager right next to you.
Yeah.
But it would crash the markets. Kevin Warsh could be the next Fed chair. And I think after his interview yesterday with Brett Baer would be. So he's asked this question. Cut 8. Kevin Warsh is a very qualified guy. He's been in government, now outside government. Cut 8.
So the big question, if you were in the role of Fed chair at the next highly anticipated July meeting, would you cut rates?
So if the meeting is next week, I'd be voting for a rate cut. That's not news. That's been my view for quite some time. I think part of the reason why interest rates are as high as they are, why first-time home buyers are struggling to get a new mortgage, is the Fed's fighting the last war. They have lost credibility because they let inflation get out of control in 21, 22, and beyond, and now they're keeping rates higher than they need.
And he said as much when he said, well, I got to find out what's happening with the tariffs first.
Yeah.
Tariff uncertainty, which to me is political. So how do you feel in this 34-second audition?
Yeah, well, also, I would say that the whole tariff apocalypse was overhyped from the get-go, and I think it still is, and I don't think people are buying that narrative anymore. But the guy sounds reasonable. He sounds like somebody that can connect with the issues, but also he can explain it to the American people in not economic jargon, but just, hey, this is time to do it. And I think a lot of people would rejoice if he was in that spot and he did it, especially homeowners, home buyers.
You know, they did a study and they asked people, how concerned are you and how much do you want to get to the bottom of Joe Biden's auto pen problem? People want to see what happened during the last 4 years, or the last 2 years. Before I play it, some of the responses, why do you think Ron Klain, in your opinion, why do you think Ron Klain chooses to speak and for the most part speak relatively candidly behind closed doors?
Yeah, he's not going to go down with that sinking ship. I think that's the easiest way to put it. He's like, listen, I'm not going to fall on the sword for this guy. I was around for debate prep, but I wasn't really there when a lot of this decline was happening. And so I think he's going to be honest about what he saw, trying to preserve his legacy. Maybe he wants to work in the space again. I don't know why anybody
Is this a self-preservation?
I think it has to be. Who would hire anybody in the Biden verse to do anything, even for a Democrat in the future, with what they did with Joe Biden? I think it's so tainted. They said it was that of the people around Trump because of January 6th. I think this is far worse. This is at least 4 years of cover-up. The ones that are smart are running off the sinking ship.
So here's what Andy Biggs said. He was asked afterwards about what he heard. Cut 17.
Yeah, I would say when I say credible, I think he is telling what he knows accurately. I mean, he's trying to be accurate. Okay, so that's what I'd say.
I'm just find it fascinating. Neera Tanden probably didn't give up much, but she spoke. But I think, Tomi, it makes everybody who took the fifth look even worse today, and pressures on everybody to follow, including Jeff Zients, his chief of staff replacement, pressure on them to speak. Why wouldn't you? Excuse me. He was there. They've been friends for decades, right? He was there for 2.5 years. If he can speak, why can't you speak?
I think also it calls into question what I said this morning with Maria. Are you oblivious? That's not good. Or were you lying? There's really only two options here, because you either are just so numb and you work with the guy and you couldn't see it, or you just flat out lied about it and you refuse to say anything because maybe you're preserving your job, maybe you're preserving the Democrat Party, the Biden administration. I don't know. But those are the options there. There is no gray area between the two.
I hear you. The other big story this week, did you cover the Hunter Biden podcast? When he described crack was pretty noteworthy. Cut 19.
The only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar of cocaine and baking soda. Crack cocaine, in terms of your physical health, is not as dangerous as the situation that you put yourself in to be able to obtain it.
By the way, did you put that music in, Eric? No, they didn't. So that's the Lahren podcast. Are you amazed by this?
You know, I'm not amazed by it. I find it fascinating. I'm not surprised, I guess I would say. But I would also say this, for as rank as that was with the crack cocaine and the F-bombs every other word, I just have to say, being honest, he seems at least more authentic and more transparent than pretty much anybody else that's orbiting that Democrat sphere right now. Like, listening to him talk about crack cocaine, I mean, I kind of gasp because this is a former first son talking about it. But if you listen to him talk, you at least get a shred of authenticity rather than listening to Hakeem Jeffries, Gavin Newsom, name anyone that's trying to, fight for leadership right now. They all sound so phony. Maybe they could take a page out of Hunter's book. I don't know. Just be authentic a little bit more.
Well, I say he's authentic, but sad for him he's being authentic. I mean, his beliefs, his statements, his cursing, the way he could be totally different 5 days prior. And I just want your opinion on this. Do you believe the family is okay with it? Him doing the podcast, number one, and number two, saying what he said? Because he blew up everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think they're happy because he's the attack dog. I think that the whole family's thinking all of these things. I mean, there is no secret here that the Biden family is not happy with the Democrat Party, the leadership, and I think they're happy to have Hunter go out there. I mean, what does Hunter have to lose at this point, right? So the influence peddling alleged is probably over for them. And, at this point, he's already been disgraced. So why wouldn't he be the one to go out and say these things?
Tomi Lahren is going to be on Outnumbered in a matter of 15 minutes. Tomi, thanks so much for giving us quality time first. And according to reports, you're going to be on One Nation Sunday at 10 o'clock.
Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
And that had to be one of the high moments at RNC, DNC of all last summer. Hulk Hogan decides to come out and really take everything over. Dana White was supposed to be the main speaker, and he was good, but Hulk Hogan stole the night, in my opinion. With me right now is Emily Worthmore. Emily's been interning with us for the last few months. We've had a lot of interns. She's amongst the best in the building. Great personal background. Already been featured in a documentary, in the middle of finishing up school next year. So we want to give Emily some time. But you're passionate about politics, right?
Yes.
Your thought about the passing. I mean, he's 71 years old. You're 20, but you knew who he was. You understood his impact.
It's a tragedy. I mean, just watching him and the way he was able to speak, without even necessarily scripting anything, just a moving speaker, and obviously had a huge impact on this past election campaign.
Does a big-time reality show and is a big hit, and was coming back as an entrepreneur. But Emily, tell us what got you here at Fox.
Yeah, so I've been working in broadcast since I was in high school. I started at a Christian radio station in St. Louis and moved into politics. I kind of work on a conservative format right now. And I was also in a documentary. It was an Apple TV documentary called Girls State. And that followed me through the program Girls State, which is a program that every state has, and it's a mock politics program, and they made a documentary. So that really helped propel my career, I think.
All right, so Girls, it was a documentary. It's available on Apple right now if I wanted it.
Yes, I think you should watch it.
And it's based on, were you a student? Does it show you as a student at what school?
Yeah, so I was a student, and this is like a summer camp program, and it was hosted at Lindenwood, which at the time I did not know that's where I was going to attend college. But Girls State was a really pivotal program for me just this 1 week. And now I attend Lindenwood full time. And because you went there, they got a chance to see you and made you an offer? Yeah, they gave me a scholarship. So I did get a full tuition scholarship to Lindenwood that week based off, my application and my background in high school. And that was also the week the documentary was being filmed. So it was a life-changing week. Looking back, that was one of the most pivotal points in my life, I think.
All right, so here's a little of that documentary. Cut 50.
I have so much adrenaline that I woke up at 4:30 today and just read through the manual. Every election that I've put myself in at my school, I've won, since 4th grade.
Do you want to go through our spirit tunnel?
Yes. At my school, and kind of known as that kid. Culture Club, Key Club, Environmental Sustainability, FCA, Student Council, Connect, Melville Media, Step Team, lacrosse. I'm missing things. Did I say science club? Oh, and I started a Bible study at my school. There we go.
So if you're a Federalist, Nationalist,
Yeah! 40. That's my lucky number.
Oh my gosh,
That's the year I'm running for president. Emily Worthmore, Worthmore for America 2040.
I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much.
They asked us our freshman year to pick your top 3 careers, and mine says President of the United States, broadcast journalist, rock star. I think I can do all 3. People at my school don't know if I'm conservative or liberal, and I kind of like that. When people ask me what party I am, I don't want to say what I am and then have half the room stop listening before I even get a chance to speak. But I'm really hoping that coming out of Girls State, I'm going to be just openly, I'm conservative, like, let's talk about it.
And Girls State, the name of the camp?
Girls State is the name of the camp, yes.
And so you've always been passionate about running for student government.
Yeah, and running for president had been a goal of mine since I was in 4th grade. I have it engraved on my class ring, 2040, as my year, because I just look at it and I'm like, somebody is going to be the president. Somebody is going to be in the position that you want. And I won't kill the bit until it's dead. You know, I'll run with it. Who knows what
So you
will
want to be president still?
Potentially.
That's great.
I have an interest in running for office. I think broadcasts is what I want to do for the upcoming years of my future. But then once I kind of get to build a platform for myself, maybe eventually go into politics.
So we're going to watch this. We're going to watch a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds make their way through and try to stand out. And there's a vote at the end?
There is a vote at the end. And we were actually all 17 at this program. So it was the summer after my junior year of high school. So it's really surreal to watch it back now at 20 years old and see how I operated. I mean, you hear in that clip, I was like a ball of energy at the time. And I think I still am. But like, I should have slept more when I was in high school, honestly.
Slept more?
Yeah, I mean, did you hear that? I got up at 4:30 this morning, and I was like, it was like Brian Kilmeade, but back when I was in high school.
You didn't have to. I wasn't doing that in high school, and I didn't have a morning show in high school either. Here's some of the other contestants talking about why they voted for you. Cut 50.
I voted for Emily. I don't necessarily think she's going to win. Actually, I know she's not going to win, but I think that she went and talked to a lot of people. She heard a lot of people. She heard a lot of voices she didn't necessarily want to hear. She had a lot of hard conversations. That's not easy. That takes guts. Guts I don't have. And I don't agree with the policies she would create, but I think she is a good human being.
Wow, who was that?
That's my liberal friend, Maddie. So the funny thing about the documentary is I was one of the only conservative people they followed, and I thought Missouri Girls State was going to be pretty Republican. But then when I got there, it was not, because the demographic of 17-year-old girls just, it wasn't necessarily the popular thing to be. So I went in like thinking I was going to be fine. I ran a more conservative campaign, and we all knew that wasn't going to win at the end. But I thought it was more important to kind of stay true to myself, because at the end of the day, you know, it's not who won that week. But like, I feel like I won in the end, because it's like I was myself. I made a lot of great connections. I didn't win, but I got a scholarship to college. Like, I feel like I won. And Maddie and I are still great friends. All the girls in Girls State have very different opinions than me, but I think I'm a good listener when it comes down to it.
But you got spotted also by Turning Point from that, correct?
Somewhat. Through that, I've gotten to make a lot of networks that have reached out to me. Turning Point, through like CVP, which is Campus Victory Project, they work together kind of, and just elected student government officials as well. Just like through running for student government, I've gotten to work with a lot of great connections.
Wow, it's that's interesting. So it's been a big help. And now, have you done broadcasting at college?
Yeah, so I work at our campus radio station. It is a music station, so it's a little different, but I'm the music director at our campus station, KCLC. And then also outside of our campus station, I work at 101.9 News Talk STL, and that's a conservative format station, and I've loved it. Everybody there is amazing, and it's just really done a great job bringing me up and, you know, giving me opportunities to talk.
So tell everyone your personal background. You have not had an easy life.
Yeah, it's been a really rough go. Not even all of it's covered, but my dad passed away when I was younger. He was a pastor. You know, I was in a single parent household, and that was pretty rough. So I got out when I was in high school still. I'm an independent fully.
Got out of your house.
Yeah, I left home when it was my senior year. So I went on to graduate early. At that time, I was working 70 hours a week between 3 jobs, you know, because I'm fully health insurance, you know, going to college, all of that's on me. And it's really hard and really stressful, but I will say that I think it's helped me to stand apart from my peers, and it's given me a lot of respect from my peers who do know my full story, just because it's something that you don't see a lot. And it has given me a bigger appreciation for the American dream, because anybody who says it's not real, I need to believe that the American dream is real, that I can come from a mess. I'm the first one to go to college. I'm the first one, I think, to graduate high school without a...
From your family?
Yeah. And,
you don't have any brothers and sisters?
No brothers and sisters. Now I'm going to go, build my own family. And I'm really excited to get to do that, because I believe in the power of family. And I believe in the power that when you come to America and when you're born in America, you can make a life for yourself out of nothing, and you can become something big. And I think that I've made really great steps towards that. And I'm just so excited to see what the future holds for me, because I really want to have that success story that one day I can tell somebody who's in a similar situation. You can get out and you can build the best life for yourself. And it really doesn't matter what you were born with or what you had. It's like the grit and determination to come from nothing and become something.
And who do you credit with inspiring you to work so hard rather than make yourself a victim?
I don't know if there's any one person, but I will say that God, I believe it's God, has always placed people in my life exactly when I need them. It's impossible, almost nearly impossible to survive when you're on your own at such a young age. But I've had parents of friends who have been like, stay with us. And people who have just not even known my situation and been like, hey, do you want to come over for dinner? Things like that throughout.
And you wouldn't have been able to eat that night.
Well, I mean, I could have figured something out. I'm sure I would have but it just to have that family environment and to have people come up, invite me over, just things like that. Scholarships to college, that was totally a God thing. I think somebody's looking out for me. Because I didn't know how.
And what's that experience been like? Then everybody's living on their own in college, right?
Yeah, but to an extent, I mean, it is a little annoying when I'm trying to pay for health insurance, and some people don't even work and they're just getting to go to college and have fun. But I want to be happy for them and not jealous. That is the 20-year-old girl in me is like, oh, I wish I could just shop and not care and all that and just go to school and party. But at the same time, I think my work ethic is a lot stronger because I do have a reason to have to work, and it's brought me a passion for working. I love it now.
Right. So listen, we have some other news things we want to cover. The President of the United States is now speaking before going on a 5-day trip over to Scotland. As you know, he takes every question from everybody, and there's a lot of topics he is discussing. Also, there's a brand new study out. This should have been given before your generation, and it is about smartphones and the impact. I'm going to tell you what the stats say, and you tell me what your friends say and what your reaction is. More with Emily Worthmore. Her last week of her internship here, what a remarkable journey she's had, and we'll bring you the latest comments from the president. Don't move.
So we have great numbers we just announced. I don't have to go over it because you've seen them, but we have great economic numbers. The deal with Japan is amazing. You give us $550 billion, and we have totally open access into Japan. Those numbers are great. I mean, the kids actually just said, very, very cute, actually. I walked up, they said, sir, there's too much winning. They picked up on a little routine,
The President of the United States in a real good mood as he heads out for 5 days over in Scotland through the EU. He'll have some important meetings, visit some properties. He hasn't been over there in a while, and he has some comments also about Gaza. He essentially said, I knew when they went down to 10 to 20 hostages that they're going to be tougher and tougher because that's the only way they can survive, by holding on to these hostages. He said, what's going to happen? He goes, they're going to be hunted down. With still is Emily Worthmore, according to reports. She's going to be leaving today. Is your last day.
Unfortunately, I don't want to.
But that's true. But the President of the United States is speaking right now. Don't you think it gives respect to the press and to the people when he's this open about everything?
Caroline Leavitt always says the most transparent president in history. And I see where she's coming from, because at least, he might not always be eloquent, but at least he is out there talking to the press himself.
We have he is talking to the press himself, and Caroline Leavitt, also 27 years old.
I know.
And she's press secretary, the youngest ever, and she'll probably walk right off that job into an anchor job somewhere if that's what she wants to do. Although I could see her also staying in government for a while. So there's this new study out that I want you to comment on, Emily. And it says early smartphone ownership is associated with feelings of lower self-image and lower self-worth among boys and girls. This is the first time we're getting long-term studies done. They have concluded this first, second generation of smartphone children that get in their 20s are how they're being affected by this communication. I mean, we all know the kids that around your age, young adults, can't communicate, right?
Yeah.
They can't look you in the eye. They don't feel comfortable meeting people, asking questions. They feel much more comfortable on their screens. We see people your age and younger, 6 people sitting together on their smartphones, not talking to each other, right?
Nonverbal phone time, yeah.
So the impact of smartphones on kids. The girls who reported suicidal thoughts, if you had a smartphone at 13, 48% said they had suicidal thought. If you had a smartphones after age 13, it's down to 28%. The conclusion is wait till at least 13. The impact on smartphones for girls, less confidence and less emotional resilience. For boys, less stability, calmness, and empathy. So what have you noticed amongst your friends?
I will say that I do notice when somebody's really good at eye contact, and that's probably why, because it's just not as common with my generation, unfortunately. I had a flip phone until I was 18, and I even had like social media on an iPad that I would use very rarely.
Did you feel like you were missing out?
Sometimes, yeah. I did feel like I was missing out. People had apps and ways to stay connected, and they'd have to work around it for me because it's integrated into schools now. In public school, I don't know, probably private school too. It's just like, hey, download this app. This is how we're going to communicate. And then I'd have to be the one that's like, oh, we'll text Emily separately or something like that. So I did feel like I was missing out, but I, at the same time, kind of made it part of my personality. Everybody thought it was so funny I had a flip phone. So it was part of the bit then. And to the point where I didn't even want a smartphone until I really needed it for keeping up to date with everything.
I mean, with a flip phone, you do text, but it's predictive text, right? You have
No, I was sitting there, 1, 2, 3, C. You have to type, you have to click it multiple times
and
to get it.
It's just not worth it.
I mean, I loved my flip phone. I highly recommend. They're like making them obsolete now, but flip phone was great. I have to have a smartphone now because I need to be, getting my email, and I get itchy without it sometimes.
So you are addicted as anybody.
Yeah, I would say I'm a little guilty of it. Unfortunately, especially now that I know, you can check my email. You get all these notifications. You probably know more than anybody. You probably have a phone that blows up all the time. Do you?
I'm on my phone, but I feel like it's work related. I think I do a pretty good job, and it's easier for me because I didn't grow up with it. Good job of saying, okay, I'm at dinner now. All right, I'm at home. Put the phone down, and I'm kind of on. I have a daughter your age and another daughter slightly older. They don't really have a big problem. The younger one uses a lot more, but I feel like now that she's home, she's going to realize. I think also, your age was abused. They never briefed you on some of the downside of this. And all of a sudden you look around and you read Social Dilemma. Did you watch that Social Dilemma documentary?
I've heard of it. I have not watched it.
Which just talks about how Facebook and all these companies manipulated you and addicted you.
Yeah, and Brian, and don't even get him started on TikTok because that's too far. TikTok, I know you don't like it.
TikTok is the rage. But it's also
TikTok is everywhere though. That's how you reach people. You see candidates now, right? Like they're using it, and that's where the young generation is at. So it's interesting to see how people will move forward, especially with legacy media, like making sure that we can still reach Gen Z and the generations to follow without things like that.
Well, how do you feel about their conclusion that kids should not have a smartphone till 13?
I agree 100%. 13 is too early in my opinion. I think before high school, I don't know what you're doing with the smartphone. That's no.
You know what they say, I'll simplify with an anecdotal story. They say, for example, let's say you have a couple of friends, but you go online and you go to Facebook or whatever you're looking at, Instagram, TikTok, and you see what all your friends did over the weekend. And there were parties that were happening and you were not even invited to those parties. What was that like?
I mean, that would be very upsetting.
And that's what a whole generation's dealing with.
Yeah, that's so sad. I feel bad. I don't think that they should be doing that before high school. I don't think there's a reason to have a smartphone before high school.
All right, so you thoroughly agree with that. So teens are online for an average of 9 hours a day. In many cases, that's longer than they spend at school or sleeping. So they say on average education, you're on a smartphone 4 hours and 32 minutes or whatever it is, the laptop or iPad. Socializing, what do you think? One day, kids your age.
5 hours.
1 hour, 13 minutes.
Really? That's actually better than a lot of my friends' screen time. So That is good. That's good.
But you would like more socializing, I would think, than you have homework, 1 hour, playing sports, because so many kids don't. You get some zeros in there. 45 minutes That is pathetic. Everyone used to be playing sports. Volunteering, 25 minutes. Reading, 8 minutes. So that's it. Hey, Emily, you did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
I want you to stay in touch with everyone, and I know you're going to come by and visit here in New York.
I will be.
All right, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they follow you?
I'm Worthmore 2040 on all platforms.
Worthmore 2040.
Yep. And
that's nice. Your future presidency. That's when it'll kick in. Back in a moment.